Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of Making Sense of Your Money. Today's topic is going to be one of our favorite questions that we get, especially the first time we meet somebody, which is how much money do I need to retire?
Well, I'll first start with we get this all the time. Hey, I heard I need $1 million to retire. Is that true?
The answer is maybe. Not to answer a question with a question, but a lot of times we have to do that, right, in our business. So, one of the things that we will ask someone when we first meet them, when they come to us with that, I heard I need 1 million, or I heard I need 500, whatever that number may be, is it depends, right? It depends on how much money you want to be able to spend on a monthly basis in retirement. And that's going to determine the lump sum that we're going to need to be able to create that type of income. And it's going to come down to what type of lifestyle are you leading today, and then figure out how much of that we want to be able to replicate when we get to retirement.
So as you know, Elizabeth, kind of the first question we ask is, well, how much do you want to have coming into the household, net? And a lot of times we get this deer in the headlights look, like, I've never thought about that before. So can you explain how we help people through that process?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to think of it is think of it almost like reverse budgeting. Okay, so I know budgeting isn't everyone's favorite thing, but take a look at first, what is the net income that you have coming into the house? So the amount that you're getting, after your taxes come out of your payroll, after you put into your 401ks, like the actual amount that goes into your bank account. That's your daily operating budget, right? How much you're spending, what you use for your bills, for vacations, all that good stuff. Once we have a good handle on that number, is really the first starting point of figuring out how much do you need. Now, with that being said, sometimes we get to that number and people have concerns with that number, right? So we may look at your net income and say, okay, you're bringing home $8,000 a month after, you pay your taxes through your payroll and in your 401ks and all that. $8,000 is what goes into your take-home pay. And people will say to us, well, there's just no way. I don't spend $8,000. I won't need $8,000 in retirement. And that creates, a further discussion then that we have to explore, right? Which is, okay, maybe they come back to us and say, I only need $6,000 a month. I don't need that $8,000. Well, where is that extra $2,000 a month going now? And how is that going to somehow just disappear when we get to retirement? So we'll take a look at things like what's in your savings account now. So let's say maybe you've got $20,000 in your savings account today. What was it a year ago? If it was 20 a year ago, then it didn't go up by $2,000 a month, which means that you're probably spending that money. And we need to have a more realistic conversation of what your expectations are and what that income in need is when you get to retirement.
So once we kind of hash out that whole conversation, we're comfortable, the client's comfortable with how much you need monthly. Well, then what happens? Now what?
Sure. Then we're back to the question of, do I have enough money to retire? So let's say that after that whole conversation, it's okay, Elizabeth and Jeff, I get it. The number probably is that 8,000 that I need, okay, in this example. So the first thing that we're going to look at is, well, what is the fixed income that you have coming in? So before we even talk about investments, so fixed income, what does that mean? That's going to be things like pensions, if you have them, your Social Security, and how is that going to play out in the income that you are going to need on a monthly basis? So if $8,000 was where we started with what we need, but let's say, for instance, that your pension is $1,000 a month and your Social Security is maybe $2,000 a month, well, that's $3,000 a month in fixed income that we know is going to come off of that $8,000. So that leaves us with around $5,000 left that we have to come up from somewhere, and that's got to come from the investment side. So going back to, do I have enough? It really depends on that final number of what's got to be taken from investments on a monthly basis. And also looking at things like, when are you going to spend the money, right? So if we have a client who's retiring, let's say at age 55, their situation might be a lot different than a client who's retiring at age 65. There's going to be, potentially medical expenses. They're going to have health insurance premiums that they're going to have to cover for their first 10 years of retirement that maybe that individual at 65 won't have to. So looking at your retirement income needs almost like a bucket of time. So let's say, those first 10 years of retirement, how much am I actually going to need in dollars and cents? The second bucket would maybe be the following 10, and then the last bucket, years 20 through 30 plus. And by breaking it out that way, that really helps us get a good handle as to how much we actually need in that big lump sum to be able to fill all those buckets for you to create the income that you need in conjunction with that Social Security and pension.
So hopefully this gives everyone a better idea of where we just start the conversation on income need and some things that you should be thinking about. As always, if you have further questions on this topic, please schedule an appointment with us through Calendly. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and as always,
Go Bills.